Welcome, chosen ones. The moment you stop responding in ways others anticipate, you step beyond their ability to read or direct you. That shift changes everything. Because what they're seeing in you now isn't something they can easily define. It's not just confidence or courage. It's a presence they can't predict. And that's exactly what makes it so powerful. It's something more subtle, more precise, and far more difficult to shake. You stay steady where others expect hesitation. You remain composed when pressure appears without warning. You don't bend just because the noise rises around you. And for reasons they can't fully explain, that quiet stability unsettles them. Here's a truth most people are uncomfortable facing. Fear has always been one of the most powerful ways to shape behavior. Long before systems of authority existed, it guided people into obedience. But every so often, someone emerges who doesn't react to it in the expected way. Not careless, not defiant, just steady and unmoved. Those individuals don't fade into the background. They shift the dynamic without trying, and that quiet disruption is exactly where the tension begins. You're not fearless in a superficial way. You still feel pressure. You still recognize what's at stake. The difference is you don't let that fear dictate your direction. You face it, process it, and keep moving forward on your own terms. That's why your composure feels unfamiliar to others. That's why your awareness can feel intense, even in silence. Because you're not being led, you're choosing, and that kind of control is rare. People aren't responding to what you say as much as they are to what they can't access in you. You're no longer open to the usual emotional leverage. And if you step back for a moment, there's a quiet irony in watching those old tactics fall flat. The guilt no longer pulls you in. The pressure loses its weight. Even the carefully timed reactions they expect from you never arrive. And in that absence, their script unravels, leaving them unsure of what to do next. You're not resisting for the sake of it. You're simply not wired to be controlled. And for some, that feels like something they can't process, like a pattern that suddenly stops working. This isn't about pride or putting on a front. It's about a grounded sense of self that comes from having gone through uncertainty, pressure, and challenge, and choosing to grow through it instead of shrinking. That's where your steadiness comes from, and why it feels so different to those who expect something else. What people are picking up from you isn't performance, it's alignment. It's a grounded certainty that doesn't need to announce itself to be felt. Real self-trust has a presence to it. It shifts the room without saying a word. So when others seem caught off guard by how calmly you move or how quickly you understand what's beneath the surface, it's not because you're trying to prove anything. It's because you stopped letting fear negotiate your decisions. And that kind of quiet authority is something most people aren't used to encountering. Before we get into the first point, take a moment right now to hit that subscribe button and leave a like to affirm that this message is meant for you. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. You're here for a reason. Step into it and claim your place in this community. Drop 444 in the comments so I can see all the chosen ones showing up. Now let's get into the first point. Number 1, your strength doesn't come from the absence of fear. It comes from not letting it dictate your choices. Fear is often misunderstood, framed as something that should disappear if you're strong enough. But that idea is misleading. Everyone feels it. Everyone encounters it. The difference is you no longer let it take the lead. It exists, but it no longer has authority over your direction. The difference is that fear no longer directs your path. You still feel it. You still recognize the signals, the tension, the rush, the awareness, but it doesn't decide for you. You move with intention, not reaction. And that's what shifts everything. To systems that rely on control, to people who depend on pressure, to environments built on intimidation, that kind of presence is disruptive. Because your actions come from clarity, not panic. And that makes you impossible to steer. While others hesitate, second guess, or wait for the perfect moment, you act. You don't rely on approval or ideal conditions to move forward. You've already understood that fear doesn't need to disappear for progress to happen. It simply needs to be acknowledged and set aside. That's where your quiet confidence comes from. It's not loud or performative, but it's steady and unmistakable. And even when people can't explain it, they feel it, and it unsettles them. People pick up on a steadiness in you that doesn't bend to noise, pressure, or shifting opinions. Your choices come from within, not from what's circulating around you. And that changes everything. You step into uncertainty without needing validation, face challenges without turning them into performances, and move through setbacks without tying them to your identity. With fear no longer clouding your judgment, your mind stays clear, your reactions stay precise, and your pace becomes something others struggle to keep up with. People notice your calm and assume it comes naturally, but they don't see the control it takes to move forward while every instinct urges caution. That's the difference. Fear is something everyone experiences, but very few learn to manage it. You've developed the ability to recognize it without being ruled by it, to treat it as information rather than a limitation. And that's what sets you apart. An inner strength that doesn't need to announce itself to be real. Take a moment and pause with me, chosen one. If this message is speaking to you, if you felt even a spark of truth, go ahead and subscribe and turn on the notification bell. This isn't just about following a channel, it's about stepping into your place. Here at Cosmic Chrysalis, leave a like to help this message reach others who need it. Now let's return to the message. Number 2, what unsettles people about your intelligence is that it's natural, not scripted. It doesn't come from rehearsed lines or borrowed ideas. It shows up in how quickly you understand, how clearly you see, and how effortlessly you connect patterns. While others rely on preparation or approval, you operate from awareness in real time, and that kind of intelligence can't be predicted or easily challenged, and that's exactly what makes it so powerful. What truly unsettles others is how naturally your intelligence operates. It doesn't feel forced or calculated. It moves on its own, ahead of the moment. You don't need to stop and assemble the perfect response because your awareness is already processing what's beneath the surface. You recognize patterns, motives, and shifts before they fully unfold. It's not something you switch on. It's something you are. And that kind of instinct doesn't ask for approval, doesn't seek validation, and isn't concerned with how it's perceived. That's why your presence alone can make people uneasy, even when you're silent. It's not what you say. It's what you understand. Your mind filters through noise and lands on what actually matters. While others get caught up in surface-level details, you move straight to the essence. What feels complex to them becomes clear to you, and decisions that take them time and doubt come to you with a kind of immediate certainty they can't quite grasp. And here's the quiet reality. You don't feel compelled to justify your thinking to those who aren't ready to understand it. You trust what you see, and that certainty doesn't need approval. Paired with your ability to recognize what's real beneath appearances, it creates a kind of boundary others can't cross. They can't reshape your perspective or redirect your judgment, and that lack of influence unsettles them. That's why some will try to provoke you, challenge you, or subtly push against you, because what they can't control, they attempt to disrupt. They look for a weak point, a moment where pressure might shake your clarity or slow your thinking. But what they don't realize is that your awareness isn't something that fractures under stress. It sharpens. It doesn't need recognition or validation to function. You navigate complexity with a steady, quiet control that doesn't announce itself, yet shifts everything around you. Others find themselves adjusting without knowing why, because your presence sets a pace they can't disrupt. Your intelligence isn't loud, it's precise, and that precision is what makes it so powerful. It reveals what's hidden without needing to point a finger. Inconsistencies, intentions, and subtle distortions become clear in your presence, even when nothing is said. People feel it. They may not understand it, but they recognize it, There's a mix of unease and respect that follows, whether they admit it or not. And the more they try to dismiss it, the more evident it becomes. You move with a level of awareness they can't easily access, and that's what makes it so striking. It doesn't need to prove itself. It's simply there, quietly undeniable. Before we move into the next revelation, take a moment to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss what's meant for your journey. Leave a like to affirm your growth and anchor yourself in this path. This isn't just a channel. It's a space you're stepping into with intention. Your place at Cosmic Chrysalis isn't here. Claim it. Now let's move to point number 3. Number 3, you don't stay in conversations that have already revealed themselves. The moment you see the truth, you step back. While most people treat arguments as something to win or use them to seek approval, that's never been your approach. You engage to gain clarity, to understand what's real, and to separate fact from noise. And once that clarity is reached, you no longer feel the need to prove anything. You simply move on. And the moment you sense that honesty isn't part of the exchange, you pull back without hesitation. You don't spend time trying to open eyes that have chosen to stay closed. Instead of reacting, you redirect your energy. That calm withdrawal catches people off guard because they expect resistance, emotion, or escalation. But you offer none of that. Walking away without tension isn't avoidance, it's control. And that level of control is something most people don't understand. It's a quiet kind of certainty that often goes unnoticed, but it carries real weight. When you step away from an argument, it's not surrender, it's discernment. You've already read the situation, understood what's being said beneath the words, and recognized that continuing would only drain your energy. That ability to choose where your attention goes and where it doesn't creates a steadiness in you that others struggle to disrupt. People anticipate a reaction, something emotional, defensive, or combative, and when it doesn't come, it unsettles them. In that silence, their usual methods lose their grip, and they're left facing something they can't influence. The entire interaction shifts. While others pour energy into proving a point, you remain grounded, conserving your focus, and allowing reality to stand on its own without needing to defend it. The moment you step back, everything becomes clearer. Intentions reveal themselves, roles fall apart, and what's genuine stands out from what's performative. Your silence isn't empty. It carries weight. It shows that you move with purpose, not impulse, valuing truth over appearances and the substance over momentary wins. That shift in how you engage disrupts expectations, and people feel it, because it challenges the patterns they rely on and forces them to confront a level of clarity they're not used to. They're accustomed to back-and-forth exchanges, emotional reactions, and drawn-out conflicts. But you step outside that pattern without effort, making it clear that your choices, your limits, and your presence aren't up for debate. That's what gives your quiet exit its impact. It reflects a level of control, awareness, and inner strength that doesn't need to prove itself. And in that moment, people are left both unsettled and quietly aware of the authority you carry without saying a word. A quick moment for the chosen ones tuning in. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you stay connected to every message. Leave a like to help this reach those who need it. You're here for a reason. Step into it and claim your place in Cosmic Chrysalis. Now let's get into point number 4. Number 4, you disrupt systems rooted in fear because you refuse to absorb intimidation as truth. Where most people unconsciously follow unspoken rules shaped by fear of judgment, failure, or rejection, you see those pressures for what they are, tools, not realities. Entire environments depend on that fear to keep people compliant, using subtle control, expectations, and pressure to guide behavior. But because you don't internalize it, those tactics lose their effect on you, and that's what makes your presence so disruptive. You, however, respond differently. You feel the pressure and recognize the tension, but you don't absorb it as truth. You understand it as influence, not reality. That awareness creates a natural resistance, one that can't be easily shaped or redirected. And that's what surprises people. When they attempt to steer you through fear, it doesn't take hold, and their usual approach simply falls flat. They escalate, raising their voices, issuing warnings, creating pressure, expecting you to react the way others do. But you don't. You stay grounded, you assess, and you respond with intention rather than impulse. That's what separates you. It's not about being reckless or dismissive. It's about understanding what's really happening beneath the surface. You recognize that intimidation often comes from instability, not strength. And once you see it that way, it loses its power over you. And when fear no longer dictates your decisions, you move with a kind of freedom others struggle to access. While they hesitate, second guess, or get caught in emotional reactions, you remain steady and clear. That difference shifts how people see you. Your calm and certainty disrupt those who depend on fear to maintain control. They expect compliance, doubt, or overreaction, but instead they're met with composure, and that's what unsettles them most. And when they meet someone who can't be influenced, their reaction shifts. Confusion, doubt, sometimes even quiet resistance. Your presence becomes something they can't avoid, reflecting back the limits of their control while you remain steady within yourself. And this kind of strength isn't about ignoring risk or acting without awareness. It's about recognizing pressure for what it is and choosing not to surrender your authority to it. You operate with intention, choosing your steps carefully and setting limits without needing to announce them. That steady, composed approach challenges everything others assume to be fixed. It reveals that many of the rules they follow aren't as solid as they believed. And because of that, your presence alone can shift the environment, leaving people uncertain, off balance, and quietly aware of a strength they don't fully understand. Chosen ones. Thank you for reaching this far. That shows that you are committed to this journey and the path that God has designed for you. So here is a quick reminder to subscribe and turn the notification on if you haven't done that yet. And if you found any value, leave a like to this video. Your support keeps you aligned with this energy and the divine path. Thank you for being here today. Now, let's get into point number 5. Number 5, you recognize that true authority isn't about control. It's about accountability. While many are taught to follow titles, status, or the loudest voice in the room, you look beyond appearances and measure leadership by responsibility and integrity. You don't assume someone deserves respect just because of their position. Instead, you observe how they carry it. And that perspective quietly exposes those who rely on dominance rather than substance, because you respond to character, not to rank or noise. You don't measure authority by how it looks. You measure it by how it holds itself when no one is watching. To you, real power is proven through responsibility, through consistent judgment, fairness, and the ability to carry weight without abusing it. So when someone presents themselves as a leader but lacks that foundation, it stands out immediately. And your ability to see that without needing confirmation unsettles those who depend on image over integrity, because your awareness quietly strips away the illusion they rely on. This way of seeing cuts through appearances without effort. You pick up on when authority is being used to control rather than guide, when influence turns into leverage, and when leadership is driven more by ego than responsibility. While others are drawn in by the surface, you notice the inconsistencies, the subtle misalignments, the promises that don't hold weight. You don't rush to expose it, but your awareness alone changes how you engage. And that quiet shift is enough to alter the entire dynamic without a single word being spoken. People feel it in your presence, even if they can't quite explain why. There's a quiet recognition that you see more than what's being presented. Without saying a word, your awareness highlights what lacks substance, and that alone disrupts those who rely on appearances to hold authority. It creates a subtle tension, because illusions don't hold up under silent observation. And this understanding naturally guides how you move. You don't respond to titles or pressure. You respond to integrity. Your interactions are rooted in truth and accountability, not hierarchy or display. You draw your lines clearly and judge impact by what's actually done, not what's promised or proclaimed. That alone disrupts expectations, because many are used to agreement driven by pressure or appearance. But when they meet someone who values responsibility over control, the dynamic shifts. They're pushed to reassess, to question their own stance, and sometimes to justify it in ways they didn't anticipate. And in that process, your presence naturally gains weight, because influence rooted in truth doesn't need to force itself. It's recognized. People pick up on the way you carry yourself, the clarity in your decisions, the standards you refuse to lower, and the quiet refusal to trade integrity for acceptance. You don't push for control or demand recognition, yet respect follows you anyway. It's not forced. It's a byproduct of how you understand power. By valuing responsibility over appearance, you naturally reveal what lacks substance while moving with intention and accuracy. And that combination leaves others both impressed and careful, because they know you operate from a place that can't be easily influenced. Chosen ones. Thank you for making it this far. It shows your commitment to this journey and the path meant for you. Quick reminder, subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you haven't already. And if this brought you value, leave a like. Your support keeps you aligned with this energy. Thank you for being here. Now, let's move into point number 6. Number 6, you don't just recognize authority. You recognize whether it's real. And once you see that truth, it can't be unseen. Your courage isn't built on the idea that nothing can harm you. It's built on the understanding that you've already faced what could have broken you and came through it. That's where your fearlessness comes from. Not from illusion, but from experience. You know what it means to endure, to lose, to rebuild. And that knowledge grounds you in a strength that doesn't need to pretend it's untouchable. You've walked through times where stability disappeared and certainty broke apart. Connections fell away, expectations collapsed, and what once felt secure no longer held. But instead of losing yourself in that process, you rebuilt with more awareness, more precision, more depth. That experience leaves a mark, a steady, grounded strength that doesn't need to be displayed to be felt. It's subtle, but undeniable. And when people notice how you carry yourself now, it catches them off guard, because your confidence isn't surface level. It's something that's been earned. It's rooted in a quiet certainty that even if everything shifts, you will still stand and move forward. That realization transforms how you navigate life. While others hold back, weighed down by fear of loss or failure, you act with a clear sense of direction. You don't anchor your choices to outcomes or validation, so your decisions come with focus and intention. There's no hesitation in your movement, only a steady confidence built on knowing you'll adapt, no matter what changes. You understand that setbacks don't define your ending. They simply shape your path forward. That perspective frees you to move with purpose, to take decisive action, and to handle challenges with focus instead of fear. Your courage isn't impulsive. It's intentional, guided by a clear sense of what holds real value and what has no power over you. And that grounded certainty tends to unsettle others because it reflects a level of stability they're not used to encountering. They expect uncertainty to show, for doubt to slow you down, for caution to shape every step you take. But when they see you remain steady, clear, and composed even when the stakes are high, it disrupts everything they assumed. Your presence carries a kind of certainty that doesn't need to be proven. It suggests you've already faced challenges beyond what they can imagine and came out stronger. That realization creates a tension they can't ignore, because your confidence feels both inspiring and unsettling at the same time. Chosen ones, if you've made it this far, that says everything about your commitment to this path and the purpose guiding you. Take a moment to lock in, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and if this message resonated with you, leave a like to anchor that alignment. Your support strengthens this energy and keeps this message flowing to those who need it. I appreciate your presence more than you know. Now, let's step into point number 6. Number 7. What you've lived through reshaped how you relate to everything around you. You no longer attach your value to outcomes, people, or circumstances that can shift without warning. There's a grounded detachment in how you move now. You speak with honesty, act with intention, and hold your boundaries without second-guessing the consequences. That freedom didn't come easily. It was built through experience. And that's where your strength comes from. Not from being untouchable, but from knowing you've already faced what could have shaken you, and you're still standing, stronger and more certain than before. That's what makes people pause around you. There's a depth in your presence they can't quite define, something forged through experiences they haven't yet faced. It draws curiosity, but also a quiet discomfort, because it reflects a strength they don't fully understand. Number 8. You've stepped away from the need for approval because your direction comes from within. While most people look outward for confirmation, constantly measuring themselves against opinions and reactions, you move based on your own alignment. You trust what you feel, what you see, and what you know, without needing it to be echoed back by the world. While others weigh their decisions against approval, applause, or silence from critics, you move by a different standard. You've learned to trust your own discernment, to listen to your internal signals rather than external noise. Your direction isn't shaped by trends or reactions. It's grounded in what you know to be true. That kind of self-trust is uncommon, and it creates a presence that feels both steady and powerful. It's what gives your actions clarity and your mindset an edge that others can't easily replicate. People quickly realize that your confidence isn't tied to how others respond, and that's what makes it so difficult to influence. There's no visible shift, no hesitation based on approval or disapproval. When you decide, it comes from clarity. You've already considered the reality, the outcomes, and whether it aligns with who you are. And once that's settled, you move without wavering. That steady follow-through catches people off guard, because they're used to seeing doubt creep in when pressure builds. But with you, it never does. You don't trade your clarity for ease or approval. And that choice shapes everything about how you move. Your decisions carry intention, your words have weight, and even your silence communicates certainty. People begin to sense that persuasion doesn't work on you unless it's rooted in something real. Opinions, pressure, and trends lose their influence because your direction is already set from within. And that kind of self-reliance creates a freedom few understand, the ability to move through life without being pulled off course by the noise around you. You move outside the pull of expectations, untouched by the need to fit into patterns others rely on. There's a natural freedom in how you think, create, and take action. You don't pause to seek permission or wait for validation. Because of that, people struggle to define you or predict your next step. You don't operate from rebellion or the need to prove a point. You operate from alignment, and that alignment gives you a kind of strength that doesn't need to be explained. It simply directs everything you do because you rely on yourself. Your presence naturally influences others in ways you don't have to announce. There's something steady about you, a resolve that doesn't shift under pressure, a mindset that doesn't wait for approval, and a spirit that stands on its own. People feel it, even if they never say it out loud. It disrupts the usual ways they're used to guiding or controlling others, because neither praise nor pressure has any real effect on you. And in that realization, they come to understand that your strength isn't given to you. It comes from within, making it something undeniable and deeply compelling. Congratulations on reaching the end of today's message. I truly want to thank you for staying all the way through, Chosen One. Your presence here adds strength to this entire community. If this resonated with you, claim that connection by leaving a like and sharing it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop 1111 in the comments to affirm your place among the chosen ones and anchor this moment. Make sure your notification bell is turned on so you never miss the guidance meant for you? I appreciate you more than you know. Have a beautiful day, and may you remain protected, aligned, and blessed.